Talk about best practices. These words sound appealing, don't they? Who wouldn't want to follow the best approach? However, the term itself is fundamentally incompatible with Agile mindset, and holding on to it as a guiding principle can derail your Agile transformation. Think about it. The term best practice implies a pinnacle, perfect, one size fits all solution. If something is already the best, why challenge it? Why try to improve upon it? The problem is when we adopt this mindset, we stop thinking critically. We start deferring to pre established norms, reducing the potential for innovation or adaptation. This is one reason why waterfall approaches often fall short in environments with high complexity and uncertainty. I've previously discussed the difference between complexity and difficulty, a related topic. I'll put a link in the description to that video in case you haven't watched it yet. Today, I'll build on that video by examining how best practices can limit our effectiveness in agile environments. Imagine moving a pile of bricks. The relationship between action and outcome is direct. Lift brick, move brick, place brick. This is simple work. Yes, it is can be hard work and it's simple work. Where standardized approaches like best practices make perfect sense. When the relationship between cause and effect is clear, following a proven method boosts efficiency, reduces cost and risk, and increases the reliability and quality of execution. We want standardized solutions in this case because they reduce time, money, and risk. Now consider baking a cake where there are multiple proven approaches that reliably produce a good result. There are many choices to make along the way, though. The choice between valid techniques depends on available ingredients, equipment, time constraints, dietary restrictions, and other factors. Here, we apply good practices, not a single rigid best practice. And we use our expertise to select the approach that has the closest fit to the current context. Complex work, like developing new products or integrating AI, operates in unpredictable conditions. Sudden changes, often unrelated to the task and beyond our control, can drastically alter outcomes. It's like throwing a stone into a lake. Each ripple is unique, making standardization impossible. Instead of following fixed practices, teams must adapt continuously, learning and evolving as they go. Working in such uncertainty requires a comfort with ambiguity. More important than the practices themselves, teams need to develop confidence and self reliance to navigate through the ambiguity. Teams must embrace the fact that they cannot always predict the path to success, especially in scenarios where the destination isn't even well defined. All that we have is a general direction that needs validation at various intervals until we discover that that's it, we're done, we've arrived. Teams need to develop skills to learn, adapt, and iterate quickly. This is the essence of Agile. And then there's chaotic work, where everything is uncertain and unstable. Think working your way through an argument, where high emotions and the volatility of the situation could make a simple mistake degenerate into an altercation of great severity. The priority isn't to identify and execute a best practice, it's surviving the current high risk situation long enough to move to a more manageable situation. This framework helps explain why traditional management struggles with agile adoption. Waterfall thinking works best in simple or complicated work contexts, where standardization drives efficiency. However, as we tackle more complex challenges, we need additional skills that go beyond rigid one size fits all solutions. In every agile transformation I encounter, leaders ask, what is the agile best practice for the situation? From their perspective, it's a reasonable question, yet it reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of agile. Agile success comes from adaptability, not standardization. Frustrated by Agile's inability to provide clear cut, simple answers, some leaders try to break complex work into manageable pieces, believing they can then standardize it. In the process, all that they've accomplished is create mini waterfalls, which is not Agile. This approach makes sense when you're thinking in waterfall terms. If we can break work down into smaller steps, we can apply best practices to each. But here's the catch: complex work can't always be simplified. There are too many variables, too much uncertainty. We can't simplify or strategize the unknown. Can waterfall tackle complex work? Of course. If it couldn't, we wouldn't have come this far. And that's not the point. The point is that waterfall is so inefficient at delivering complex work that it creates a time to market challenge, which is exactly what we saw happen in the dot-com days. Trying to force standardization on complex work is like hammering a screw. Eventually, you might get it in, but you've missed the whole point of having a better, more effective, and efficient tool for the job. The agile way isn't about forcing complexity into predefined boxes. We already have waterfall for that, and we don't need a new waterfall. It's about using flexible, adaptive approaches that better fit the unpredictable nature of complex work. This may sound a bit chaotic, and indeed, I've often heard Agile described as teetering on the edge of chaos. That's generally a true statement. And this isn't about abandoning structure entirely, which would be chaotic. Instead, it's about recognizing when standardization helps and when it hinders. For simple work, standardization is the way to go. For complex work, we need to focus on building adaptability, learning, and developing rapid response capabilities. The real shift happens when teams stop asking for best practices, driven by one size fits all mindset, and instead start asking better questions. What are we learning? How can we adapt our way through the unknowns? What experiments should we try next? There isn't the best practice to achieve that. There are only emergent practices which we discover as we go. Once teams start asking the right questions, they shift towards agile mindset, one that embraces uncertainty as an opportunity for discovery rather than a problem to control. It's about enabling teams to be more adaptable, capable of shifting direction as needed without fear of failure, because failure becomes nothing more than an indicator of where to head next. In highly complex environments, the true skill isn't to develop proficiency at following standard approaches. It's about leading the way through adaptive turns in the journey while managing risks. The more adaptable your team, the better they'll handle the unpredictable nature of complex work. How does this distinction show up in your workplace? Do you see best practice thinking limiting adaptability? How can you encourage better questions and foster a culture of experimentation? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more insights on building adaptive, resilient organizations in the era of AI. Thanks for watching.